The San Jose Sharks give us a nice little Super Bowl Sunday appetizer, beating the Washington Capitals 4-1 this afternoon. And we're going to talk about that and what's going on after the game. Check it out after this. But first, if you want to be a part of the show and Teal Together with us, check us out across all the social media platforms. The YouTube chat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok. Check all of that out and more at the tealtownusa.com website. Support the pod at Teal Town USA on Venmo or in the YouTube chat. Donations, any and all, go directly to the show and help us continue this great content for you. I am joined by Miss Dana May this afternoon. Miss Dana, how are you doing?
I'm good, Landy. It is such an honor to be covering America's #1 professional sports game on this fine day. I'm the most excited sports fan in the state of Missouri right now. I just want everyone to know. And after this show, I'm going to sleep.
Right?
No, I'm almost serious. I never pay attention to the Super Bowl. Sorry, guys.
Well, I mean, I'm not really too interested in these teams either. As Christian McCaffrey would once have said, I wish both teams would lose. And that's how I kind of feel about this Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, every time I live somewhere where a team is in the Super Bowl, they lose. San Francisco, 10 years ago, whatever, they lost. The 1 year I lived in Colorado, Broncos lost. I live in Missouri right now, so good luck to the Chiefs, I guess.
Right. But the Sharks would have, like I said, a nice little appetizer for us in the beginning. And, really surprising with a good effort against the Washington Capitals this afternoon.
Yeah, I thought the Caps also didn't look the most energized. That was also apparent to me, not to like yuck the yum of the Sharks playing well, but just something I couldn't help but notice.
Yeah, no, I also agree. They looked a little sluggish, but again, pleasantly surprised by the Sharks kind of getting out onto a really good footing with just a quick goal right off the hop. Normally, these are the top that the Sharks like to give up, but Evgeny Svechnikov just throwing it on the net, getting some traffic in front, and getting his 5th of the year. Gadjevich and Carlson with the assist there. Carlson doing a great job with the zone entry. Gadjevich doing a great job in front of the net and kicking it back out to Evgeny. And he just floated one on net. And really a guy that I've liked all season. I thought that his effort this year has been great. And when they removed him from the lineup, I think once he got injured and the other it was due to performance. But I felt that the team really missed something on that third line without him. So, again, good to see Evgeny on the board and really showing a lot of effort on the play and just kind of awareness to throw it on the net. Dana, what'd you see from this goal and what'd you see from his game tonight that was just working?
I apologize in advance if my audio gets weird. My AirPods just died. So we'll look into that in a moment. But honestly, I mean, again, not to yuck the yum, I thought the Washington goalie was not in a very good position, but Svechnikov took advantage of that. And he was just like, yeah, whatever, just throw it in. It went in. Just a shame I'm not on here with Puck Guy. No offense, Landy, but can always use Puck Guy going like, Mr. Svechnikov. I don't know where he got it from, but he always says it. So pouring one out for you.
Puck Guy, wherever you're at, I believe he's at work right now. So we're drinking one for you. But no, again, I really I just thought that he had a really good game this afternoon and really showed a lot of motor, and that's really what I liked about his game early on in the season. Again, it's kind of been a weird one for him, insofar as how many games he's been able to suit up, but when he's been in, I felt that he's done a really good job on that third line, just kind of stabilizing everything. Um, Kind of almost making Limbaum a passable third liner when, paired with him. So, yeah, I couldn't say enough good things about Evgeny this afternoon. But in that first period, I mean, that would be the only scoring we'd get, and the shots would be 7-9 in favor of Washington. Now, I think the shot total was a little misleading because it was kind of back and forth play. It wasn't really a lot of sustained time either way. And I think, like you had said, the Capitals just looked really sluggish, and they didn't really have a lot of second chances at the net. The Sharks did a really good job of cleaning up a lot of the garbage, but I don't know. It just didn't seem like they had the will this afternoon. What do you think, Dana?
No, and I don't know if this is a tangent I can get to later when we go into my post-its, but I've done a little bit of investigative journalism about the goalies that teams decide to start against the Sharks, and how results go certain ways. And usually I feel like when people throw their backup in, they want to play well and like make sure that the backup doesn't, have to face a lot, and they want to defend well. I don't. I don't know what it was with the Caps, because usually it's the Sharks who, on the East Coast. What time was it for you guys? 10:30? Like, start. Usually these are their worst games.
Right, breakfast with the Sharks, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the Sharks just had a lot more energy. And this is all very surprising because Washington is a team that needs those points. They're really in the thick of it, in their playoff race, and the points went to a team who does not need them at all whatsoever.
Right, right.
Also, sorry if my audio is terrible. It's my just computer mic. We're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, no, you sound fine to me.
Okay, okay.
But going into that second period, the tables would kind of turn a little bit in favor for the Sharks, and I think the Sharks really played most of that period in Washington's end, which was kind of surprising because you would have thought that Washington would have come out with a little bit more oomph or something in that second period, especially because of the way in which the Sharks did a pretty good job of hanging around in the first. So in that second period, though, about halfway through, the Capitals would take a penalty, and the Sharks would get a power play goal. Alexander Barabanov, his ninth of the season, Hurdle and Carlson with the assists there. And this one, again, was just another one of those kind of effort pucks where Barabanov really scooted quickly to the front of the net, and really kind of battled in front to make his own space and then to ultimately get a good shot on net. And again, it's the effort kind of will kind of type goal where you just love to see the players being funneled to the puck being funneled to the net, but the players really engaging up on on the goaltender and very kind of physical in the crease. So I thought that Barabanov did an awesome job fronting it, and able to get himself the area to take a shot. But I mean, what did you see from Barabanov that was working on that power play, Dana?
I think a lot of coordination between him and other players, and I thought this was an awesome example of something I pointed out during a previous After Dark about how the whole Carlson having more of a shoot first mentality helps them, not only just for Carlson to score, but for him to get the puck close to the net, and whoever's around there can bank it in. And that's what we saw here. So I think it was obviously kudos to Hurdle with the assist as well. But on this goal, I was particularly impressed with Carlson and Barabanov.
Yeah, yeah, and the power play looked energized. It really didn't look sloppy, and again, kind of just a complete 360 of what type of effort they had at the end of that game in Carolina. Um,
Florida.
oh, thank you, Florida. I
I
don't know
mean,
what.
I forgot it too.
They're all starting to blend together.
I know. Yeah, Panthers. They're both Panthers. So
And kind of reddish jerseys, but
right.
anyhow, I digress. But yeah, no, like they really did have a different kind of vibe to them, because that in that Panthers game, that power play just was worthless,
Oh,
and we had said, I think on that cast, not Puck Guy, I think it was one of the worst power plays, of the season was contained in that game. So I don't know if they had like an internal meeting with the power play guys, like, hey, we need to get our shit together or what. But kudos to them, because you could definitely see that it was crisper and not taking as much time to dust it off, not taking that extra skate to kind of make your own space. I mean, it's just pass, shot, and at most two passes and a shot, which is, when they keep the power play simplified, is, I think, the best formula for success for that grouping.
yeah, I agree. There's, I don't know what it is, but over the years, there seems to be nothing more Sharks than a complete snooze fest of a power play. Doesn't matter if they're doing well, doesn't matter if they're contenders, doesn't matter if they're friggin' in the, draft lottery conversation. Like, just this, like, hot potato pass. Oh, no, you take the puck. No, you take the puck. No, you take the puck. No, I don't want it. You take it. And it's really good to see this shoot first mentality, because then, even if you don't score, someone will be there to just get it in the right direction, low course correction, and it's in. So yeah, hopefully this is an encouraging sign. I, I guess I don't know what that means at this point in the season, if we have a good or bad power play, depending on what you're hoping for. But it's good for the power play to be like effective at least once in a while, and for us to see them figure out how to like combine their strengths in the power play and make that work. But obviously we don't want to be too reliant on Carlson to make literally anything in the power play happen.
Oh, and we'll talk about Carlson, here in a minute. But first, I mean, at the end of that second period, Kuznetsov did end up getting a goal for the Capitals. And really, it seemed like the one burst of energy that they did have was at that last 5 minutes of the second period. And that just looked like a pissed off Evgeny Kuznetsov going to the net. And on that play, he'd ultimately injure Capo Kakkonen. Kind of had an elbow to the back of Kakkonen's head. I don't think that there was like any extra force. It just, he was going through the crease fairly quickly, and kind of had a lot of his body weight kind of planted on the right hand side, which is the side that Nick Capo. So Capo would try to stay in the game, but ultimately at the TV timeout, the concussion spotter would pull him out, and he didn't return for the rest of the game. So Aaron Dell ended up coming in, which was good because Dell had to make a save kind of right at the very end of the third. In
Second.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk second.
Yeah, second. Thank you so much. And honestly, I mean, I didn't see a lot on it. I thought it was pretty innocuous myself. But, I mean, what'd you see from the hit, Dana, and just kind of how that kind of shifted the narrative of the game just ever so slightly?
I mean, yeah, I don't think it was anything intentional. Guys crash the net all the time to try and make something happen. The majority of the time, nobody gets hurt. Just something hit Kakkonen wonky, and There's a reason that concussion spotters are a thing, even if a guy maybe says he feels fine. Like, his like brain functioning and functioning for the rest of his life is far more important than hockey. So I hope all is well. Kudos to him for still trying to stay out there. I was glad to see the Caps fans clapping for his effort. But ultimately, if the concussion spotters do this for a living, if they feel like that's best, then that's best. And so yeah, I hope all is well. If it is something he needs to take time off for, he can go do that. Team Tank has no qualms with our two goalies being Arundel and McInerney. Not that I would ever be happy about anyone being injured or sick, but it could work in our favor, depending on if you're on Team Tank or not. But yeah. Anyway, on the play, I just an accident. I didn't see anything. Although it was ironic that Kuznetsov got hurt like a minute later.
Yeah, I think he would end up getting his shoulder shoved into the
Yeah.
glass by Logan Couture.
Seeing him skate off, he looked like he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it didn't look good. So I'm wondering if maybe he either pulled a muscle there or tweaked something. But yeah, it didn't look good. And in that third period, he would play the rest of the game, but just didn't look like he had a lot on his passing and in his shot. You could tell that he was, still hurting from that, from that hit. But in the third period, I mean, again, the Sharks would. Again, the Sharks would just continue to play as they did throughout the first and for the first part of the second period with just kind of the pedal to the metal. I thought that, they funneled, of course, the shot counter was 13-8 in favor of the Sharks in that third period, but I just thought that the team territorially played better, and I think really only until like the last 10 minutes of the third is where Washington started to finally kind of wake up, like, hey, we need to try and score a couple of goals here. But Erik Karlsson would get his 18th goal of the season with Barabanov and Couture getting the assist, and that came at 12:55. So again, we had talked that the first 10 minutes kind of were Sharks, and then the latter 10 were of the Capitals, but this one was just one of those pucks that Eric just threw onto the net and had some bodies in front and kind of just picked the corner, and I don't think it went off of anybody because it just kind of sailed right into the net and kind of fooled Lindgren. But I mean, kind of a wonky shot there, right, Dana?
They don't ask how, they just ask how many.
And that would be, capping off a 3-point night for Erik Karlsson. And again,
back to the 4-point nights.
Right? You scrub, you didn't get 4. But no, I mean, Erik Karlsson just, again, having another all-world performance, and he's on a 110-point pace as a defenseman.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Karlsson, defenseman named Karlsson, I have a little friend here. It's a John Karlsson bobblehead that my husband got when he lived in DC. It's our one non-Shark bobblehead. I figured I'd bring it out. I didn't hear much about him this game, so
he was out. Yeah,
You can go, John. You can go practice to get better at hockey and become a better defenseman. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that and him being injured too.
Oh wait, was he playing tonight?
No, he was not playing.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I guess that's why I didn't hear.
And Hot Wheels 84 saying EK said it went off of a Caps guy. Well, maybe it did, because it certainly had that kind of sailing quality and definitely looked like a changeup that Lindgren was not ready for. But again, the Sharks would continue their good play, and even with the last 3 minutes of the game, the team continued to continue to try to possess the puck and not just dump it off. I mean, I thought that they had a couple of really good shots on net and sustained pressure and then kind of gave it back. So, you got, I think, out of that good work. You just had Tomas Hertl finally, getting his empty netter, his 15th of the year, with Bonino getting the assist there. But when Hertl dunked that in, I mean, there was some authority, and he was not happy, heading back to the bench, not even a smirk or a smile. And somebody who needed to score in whatever way, shape, or form, it was good to see him get an empty netter. But I don't know. I do you feel like maybe the trade deadline and all the chatter about, his teammates and stuff might be bothering him?
I mean, it's hard to say psychologically. It could be anything. I think his wife is going to give birth in like a month. I don't know. He's got a lot else going on in his life, so who knows? But I imagine, hockey players, professional athletes, and performers of any kind are very prideful. Not in the derogatory sense, but like in the sense of their performance is really important to them. And so I can imagine that, to us, it's like, oh, cool, Hertl got his first goal in however many games. Like, to him, probably doesn't feel that way. To be honest, it was just kind of comical how long it took for the Sharks to get an empty net goal. And it was making me really friggin' nervous because we don't need more overtime losses. But they got it in, and I can theorize all day what might be like behind or not behind Hertl's struggles as of late. But he's like my favorite hockey player of all time, so I hope he figures it out.
Yeah, and AJ, thank you so much for chiming in. Quinn, on heading back to San Jose for the first time since January. Home? Where's that? Okay, then AJ coming up again with Carlson said he hasn't seen Kokkonen so far, but heard he seemed to be okay. So again, we had said that it didn't really look like it was much, and the concussion spotter, just being conservative there, which he should, because again, go to the head. You want to make sure you protect these guys as best as you can, especially if you're a goaltender going to maybe take a puck off the mask or something a little bit later. You don't want to have a double conky in the same game, right? So anyhow, good on the staff for being there and being able to make the right decision for Kaapo Kakkonen. He would end up the night with 12 of 13, good for a .923 save percentage, and Aaron Dell would save all the shots he faced.
Vesna.
What? Vesna. So we can definitely say, dude, you're getting a Dell for for an afternoon. So anyhow, the Sharks would end up with 33 shots on goal to Washington's 21, and the 3 stars would be Erik Karlsson, Alexander Barabanov, and Evgeny Kuznetsov for this afternoon's matinee. And again, just topping off a great Sharks victory, 4-1, a complete victory, which they played well on all phases of the game, and this is one of the rarities for this season for sure. And the Capitals are my favorite Eastern team, so good to see the Sharks play up to their opponent, and again, like you had said, maybe just catching Washington a little flat-footed this afternoon, because it certainly did look like they were pretty sluggish.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I would love to know what our post-it count is now after this game.
Yeah. So we didn't get around to it on the last show, but I had 4. I had 35 previously, so that was 39. And today I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so oh my god, I can't do math. 44. We're up to 44. All right. See anything I didn't cover? Yes, so I'm going back to my investigative journalism from earlier this day. Um, a lot of teams have been putting out their second or third string goalies against the Sharks. So the Sharks haven't actually beat a starting goalie in almost a month. I mean, the Sharks don't win a lot, but yeah, the last time they beat an actual starter was January 18th versus Dallas, and that game just felt fluky to me. I mean, obviously, I don't need to do investigative journalism to prove that the Sharks aren't the best team, but it was interesting to note. And if the Sharks can capitalize on that, then so be it. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's something I'm never going to be able to unhear. And so I don't know what broadcast or radio or what you guys were listening to, but I need everybody else to hear it. When Randy said something about tickling the twine to mean scoring a goal, I lost my mind. I've never heard that. If you said that to me out of context, I would think it was a like euphemism for something. I don't know what, but anyway, I just thought everyone needed to hear that. So I've always got something on my post-it, something weird that Randy says that I've never heard before. Let's see, what's something about? Yes, EK65 shooting first. Did y'all see that Noah Gregor block where the Capitals player literally just shot it directly into his knee? That was a little painful to watch.
Not only was it painful to watch, but it was painful to hear because you could hear it in the broadcast through the broadcast you could hear the pop it made when it hit his leg. And I'm like, oh man, like he just took 80 miles an hour off of the knee. I hope that he's all right there, because it probably sounded like it got the knee pad, because it, like I said, kind of had that plasticky pop to it. But I'm like, oh, I'm so glad he wears knee pads.
Yeah, definitely. Sleepy Mofo pointing out, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the Caps did play last night against Boston. That makes perfect sense. I guess I'm not a very good investigative journalist because I didn't bother to look that up when I, noticed that they were sluggish. Yeah, honestly, the Caps probably were just like, we just want to just get this over with, go to our Super Bowl party or whatever.
Exactly. That's probably what it was. But
which is a shame, because if I were Washington, I would want all the points I can get. But they're lost.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's kind of the interesting part of it though, because they're in a dogfight to try and get into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and the Sharks are a team that you can take advantage of and get some points. And yeah, you don't worry about losing to a Western Conference team too much because you're cross conference or whatever, but like you had said, you got to get those points, and especially in the Metro Division, you've got an uphill climb. So yeah, I just thought it was kind of really interesting. We didn't see a better Washington team this afternoon.
Yeah. Ovechkin, whom? Never heard of him in my life.
Yeah, right.
He had like one shot, they said. I mean, I didn't, like, that's what they said on the broadcast. I haven't seen it since, but still holding Ovechkin to even just a few shots, no points. That's pretty crazy. And then, yeah, my last note was just that I miss Arundel's Frozen mask. So for context, anyone who doesn't know, in the movie Frozen, the magical land that the characters live in is called Arundel. And so someone at some point pointed out to Arundel that his name is the same. So on the back of his OG shark mask was the castle from Frozen. And I just thought that was like a real cute Easter egg. I guess he got a new one, since he's moved around to a few cities and then back to San Jose. But that's a nice piece of San Jose lore I will always cherish.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, of course, there's always, dude, you're getting Adele, like from days past, advertisements have passed. But I did want to talk just a little bit about the trade stove, because it's getting a little hot. Apparently the Edmonton Oilers are re-engaging with the Sharks on a potential Erik Karlsson trade to Edmonton. Word on the street is that the Sharks would need to retain upwards of 40% of Erik Karlsson's
Oh,
contract.
no, I'm gonna stop you there.
And I think that that's where the conversation should stop. I mean, it had been reported that the Sharks were thinking of maybe taking upwards of 18% and that being the maximum. But even still, I think you cannot pay the amount of money to players not playing on your team as much as the Sharks would be paying if they traded Erik Karlsson at 40%. Because I mean that's almost $9 million in money cap space, and just of players not you're paying to not play on your team. It just makes no sense. And believe me, Hasselplattner is a guy who has a lot of money, yes, but he's also a computer scientist. Like, this is a guy that's smart with his money, and won't want that to be how the Sharks operate. So I don't see how you're able to trade Erik Karlsson unless you somehow miraculously, keep 10 to 15% is all I would offer if I were the Sharks from a financial perspective.
No, that contract is not being traded. It doesn't look as bad, certainly, now that Carlson's playing well, but like, no, oh my God, is Ken Holland on crack? Like, no. Well, maybe yes, but no. No, guys, Carlson's not being traded. I just tune out whenever I hear anybody talking about a potential Carlson trade because I'll believe it when I see it. But I haven't seen it. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
And the other thing, Dana, too, is if you're Carlson, yeah, it might not be a winning atmosphere and a winning culture in San Jose right now, but you also have to look at like the intangibles. I mean, would you rather live in the Bay Area or in Edmonton, Alberta? And I don't think that EK would want to go back to Canada unless it was to Ottawa, right? Where
Yeah.
his forever home is. So
Yeah.
I,
I mean, I don't, we're not in his head. There's pros and cons to anywhere, but I don't know. I think he's comfortable in the Bay Area, and um, I, I I don't think he wants to move, and frankly, I don't think he's going to be moved. Maybe people talking about a Carlson trade is just kind of like finding something to talk about because there's been so little tangible Timo Meyer related news. Um, but like, I don't even entertain it. I don't even entertain it. But you know what? If Carlson is traded, I will hop on here and eat my words.
right, and I think I'm totally with you there. It's got you got to see it to believe it, and I'm even kind of more suspicious about Timo Meyer. With the lack of any kind of news out of Timo Meyer. I mean, the last thing we had heard was that New York was looking into him, but
No.
that they pivoted away to Tarasenko now. And you look at what the return was for Bohovat, you look at what the return was for Tarasenko, and I don't think the Sharks' asking price is being met by anybody. I think that that's kind of where we're at, and I think if I'm Mike Greer, I stick to whatever he's saying as far as the asking value because it sounds like it's high, and it should be high, especially for a guy who's on pace for 40 goals. And again, I mean, you look at where the Sharks are at. I mean, this is a player that you can continue to use and continue to need for, the foreseeable future. So the less we hear about Timo, the more optimistic I am that they can try to re-sign and not trade him.
Yeah, I just really hope to God that we don't end up with a like Nylander and then Marner situation like happened in Toronto. New GM trying to please a frustrated fan base. And just obviously there's a Toronto media was like, I guess another player in like that whole um a hullabaloo. So it's like we're never gonna have anything like that here. But yeah, I not to steal Ian's talking point, but the Sharks do not have to trade Timo Meier.
Yep.
Timo Meier is, I hate to speak about like a person in terms of being like owned by a team, but in terms of the contract, like Timo doesn't go anywhere without the Sharks' permission. Point blank.
Right, right. And
So.
at the end of the season, that's going to be the saving graces that the Sharks, will be the only team that he can really engage with, or they'll be the final team to have the final say, right? Because I think he can still be off sheeted.
Right. But they can match.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And I was listening a little bit to 32 Thoughts and Jeff Merrick, and they were saying, it's probably going to be another 8x8, 8x9 type of deal.
Sure.
He's
worth.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to lower it, guys. Like, he knows what he's worth. He's a really good player. So, whatever. I just want to see him sign because inevitably, oh God, I believe the prospects we have coming in the next few years will be doing something. I think keeping, oh my God, why am I blanking? Bordelot and Eklund on the Barracuda is very intentional to help them build their confidence and get to be a big part of a team. So that once the Sharks decide to stop sucking, they can join the big boys, and that's just my dream, guys. Like, I don't want to see the Sharks really hit some kind of rock bottom where they do a complete like free for all yard sale, which they've just stubbornly resisted for a long time. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah. Yeah, and Burge asking, what's the last day that the Sharks have, and so if I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I've done Canada Day coverage, but that's July 1st is the opening of free agency for UFAs, and I believe 3 days prior to that, teams can start negotiating offer sheets, but the offer sheet I think has to be given on July 1st. It's something like that. There's like an exclusive window where you can talk, but you can't offer something, and then once it hits the general free agent deadline or whatever, that's when it can go. But Timo is also, he has a qualifying offer. I don't know if he's arbitration eligible. I don't think he is. So, because I think this is his last year was his last year to have arbitration, and then he goes into this point where he can sign an offer sheet. So, yeah, I don't think he's ARB eligible. So you have to either pay him the $10 million or come to some agreement with a contract. So it's, yes, you still have control of the asset. Yes, you have final say of the asset if you want to match a deal. But still some careful negotiations that need to take place in order for the team and the player to come to some sort of agreement on what the compensation will be. And I mean, Timo, like we had said, is a power forward, 40-goal guy, and somebody that I think let's not say he's a core player. I mean, on the Sharks, he's definitely a core player, but on any other team, I think he's fringe core type of a player, meaning, he's better than a complementary piece, but he's not the piece that you center around. But he's definitely a guy that you saddle up with like your number one center.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean, but I think it's worth pointing out that while Timo Meier's been in his prime, he hasn't been on a very good team. So I think it kind of remains to be seen how he would actually fit into a team that has a lot of or a good playoff contending team, and how he fits among those players. But I think he can absolutely join the core of somebody's team and fit in really well. And if he gets traded anywhere, I think it would be the Devils, if not them. I don't know where.
Yeah, I think the Swiss connection with Heischer is just too strong, and I think the Devils also have a good reputation of handling Swiss players. So I'm totally with you. I think it's Devils or bust at this point. And
Now, do you think Timo could go to Edmonton? Like, is that something they might be interested in? God, I hope not.
I, I, I mean, we keep hearing about Edmonton circling around Sharks players, and most of the talk had been around Erik Karlsson, but I hadn't thought about Timo going up there as a forward. But it doesn't make sense to me if I'm Ken Holland. I'm still looking for that puck mover that works on the back end with Connor McDavid, and a guy who can skate well and has a lot of vision. The same with Connor McDavid, because you basically want the guy who's got the turbo jets, paired with a guy who can make a really good up pass to get him the puck. And so to me, it makes more sense for them to be looking for a defenseman. But who knows? I mean, maybe if they lose out on a defenseman, they'll say, screw it, we'll go all forwards and try to win that way. I mean, it's definitely a strategy. I don't know if it's the best strategy, but it is a strategy.
Yeah, I just don't expect the Oilers to make good moves in general, so I just kind of work with that assumption. Like, don't think about what makes sense. Think about what Ken Holland would do.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I think we're going to end it up on that note, Dana. We've got to start wrapping it up here before the big game starts. And then, of course, we also have Pucknologist tonight at 7 p.m. So if you haven't already got the notification bell going there, click it on so that way you know when we go live after every game. But, of course, the Pucknologists, when they go this afternoon or this evening after the big game. But Dana, I really wanted to say thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Again, there could be bigger and better things to be watching, but you toughed it out again, and we got a win, so that is awesome. But where can the people find you, and what are your final thoughts on today?
Yeah, my final thoughts are thank you for not letting it go into OT. I'll take 2 points or I'll take 0 points. Please, no more 1 points. We don't need that. And the people can find me at Dana May, that on Twitter and Instagram. I think. Oh, you added an extra Y.
Oh, thank you for the catch. I can't remember if it's with 3 or 2.
Yeah, I think on Twitter it's just 1, and then on Instagram it's definitely 2.
Well,
not figure it out for yourselves.
But really, it's Margie, right? That's
yes,
who you should be following.
Yes, at Margie_the Queen.
Well, as far as my final thoughts go, it's good to see a good Sharks victory. It might have been coming off of a tired Capitals team, but still, good to see them put a good effort on against a good club. That's for sure. Hopefully, Kakkonen will not have any kind of lingering effects from this, and he can continue, his good play, because I think he's definitely turned a corner with his play as of late. And as far as where you can find me, you can use my first name, that's ERIK, and my last name, LANDI, across all the social media garbage. And, you've got a platform, I've probably got an account. So try and follow me and all the things that I do and get up to. And like I said, again, Pucknologist tonight, 7 p.m. It's going to be kind of interesting to see where they go with the trade rumors, because I'm sure they'll discuss quite a bit more about where people are going, what people are going to be looking for, and what their expectations are going in and out of it. So again, check that out tonight after the Super Bowl. But in case you missed us and you want to check us out again, find us on the YouTube Rewind. But of course, we're on a podcatcher near you. I mean, we're on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, Audacity. I mean, there's always the website too, tealtownusa.com. And yeah, we've got a lot of content and places where you can catch us. So, do we have a Margie sighting, Dana, before we head out?
That can be arranged.
Okay.
Give me a
Okay. So, for all of the crew, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal, and let's see if we can catch Dana before Margie floats away. I don't think so. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon and have a great Super Bowl. We'll check you out. We're checking out, and we'll catch you after the next game.